Picture the same 6:30 every morning. The kettle clicks off, and before you've decided anything at all, before your brain has properly surfaced from sleep, your hand is already reaching for the mug. The grind, the pour, the first scalding sip by the window. It happens whether you slept like a stone or barely at all, whether you feel sharp or utterly flat. There's no negotiation. There's no willpower in it anywhere. Now here's the strange thing. That coffee ritual runs flawlessly every single day at zero cost to you, while the stuff you actually want to do, the stretches, the 10 minutes of journaling, the reading, all of that collapses within a week every single time you try to start it. And we love to explain that gap with a word, discipline, as in you clearly haven't got enough of it, but that's not the difference at all. The difference is that the coffee had something to lean on, and your new habits had nothing. That something has a name. It's called a stack. So let's be precise about what habit stacking actually is, because the phrase gets thrown around like a wellness slogan, and it deserves better. Habit stacking is the practice of anchoring a small new behavior to an existing automatic one. So the old habit becomes the trigger for the new. That's it. You're not inventing a habit from scratch. You're bolting one onto machinery that already runs. And you have that machinery, dozens of pieces of it, brushing your teeth, making coffee, sitting down at your desk, locking the front door, getting into bed. You don't remember to do those things. You don't summon motivation for them. They simply fire reliably because repetition has wired them into your nervous system. Habit stacking borrows that reliability. Instead of launching a new habit into empty space where it has no cue, no rhythm, nothing to hold on to, you attach it directly to a behavior that already fires like clockwork. The established habit does the remembering for you. So why does that work? To answer that, you have to understand what a habit actually is underneath. Neurologically, a habit is a loop, a cue, a routine, a reward. This is the structure the journalist Charles Duhigg popularized in The Power of Habit, drawing on decades of research out of MIT. Cue, routine, reward. And here's the thing almost nobody solves. The cue, the trigger, the part that's supposed to say, now, think about it. You decide to meditate in the morning, but morning isn't a moment. It's an hour-wide smear of getting dressed, finding your keys, checking your phone, half a conversation with someone in the kitchen. Somewhere in that blur, the intention quietly evaporates. Not because you're weak, because morning never actually arrived as a signal your brain could catch. An established habit is the exact opposite of vague. It's a precise, sensory, unmistakable moment. The click of the kettle, the taste of toothpaste, the weight of your body landing in the desk chair. Attach your new behavior to that exact instant, and you've given it the one thing it was starving for, a trigger that never fails to show up, which is also why stacking sidesteps the willpower problem entirely. If you've ever wondered why motivation deserts you precisely when you need it most, the honest answer is you were never meant to run your life on it in the first place. Stacking doesn't ask you to be more disciplined. It asks you to be better organized. The cue carries the weight that willpower simply cannot. Now, there is a single sentence at the heart of all of this, and it's worth committing to memory. James Clear puts it plainly in Atomic Habits, and I'll say it exactly as it works. After I, existing habit, I will new habit. That's the whole engine. And the structure does the heavy lifting, because it forces specificity out of you whether you like it or not. I'll drink more water. That's a wish. It has no edges. But after I pour my morning coffee, I will fill a glass of water and drink it. That's a stack. It has a trigger, a behavior, and a moment in time you can actually point at. Fill in both halves honestly, and you've designed something your brain can run. Leave either half fuzzy, and you've written another resolution destined to die by Thursday. But here's where people go wrong before they've even begun. They pick a bad anchor, because not every existing habit makes a good one. The strong anchors share three qualities, and I want you to hold all three. First, it has to be genuinely automatic, something you already do without fail, every day without thinking. Brushing your teeth qualifies. Checking my emails might feel constant, but if it happens at wildly different times, or not at all on a lazy Sunday, it's too loose to lean on. An anchor that itself needs remembering is no anchor at all. Second, it has to match the new habit in scale and setting. Anchor your new behavior to something happening in roughly the right place and frame of mind. Stack 30 press-ups onto after I sit down at my desk, and you're fighting the moment. You've arrived to work, not to exercise, but stack write one line in my journal onto after I get into bed, and it fits beautifully because the body and the location already agree with the behavior. And third, it has to have a clear finish. The best anchors end sharply. The kettle clicks. You set down the toothbrush. You close the laptop. A habit with fuzzy edges. After I relax in the evening, gives your new behavior no precise instant to fire from. Sharp edges make sharp triggers. Remember that. Right. Let's talk about the mistakes, because most failed stacks die for one of three reasons, and all three are avoidable. The cardinal sin is making the new habit too big. After I make coffee, I will do a 40-minute workout. That's not a stack. That's a cliff. The new habit has to be small enough to feel almost trivial. 2 press-ups, 1 page, a single deep breath. And I know that feels absurd. Your ambition rebels against it. But listen, you are building the wiring, not the volume. You're teaching the trigger to reliably summon the behavior. The size comes later, on its own, once the wire is laid. Start small enough that skipping it feels sillier than doing it. Second mistake, a weak or wrong anchor. We covered this, but it's worth the repeat because it's the quiet killer. If the anchor isn't truly automatic, the whole structure collapses. And if the anchor's mood clashes with the new behavior, you'll feel that friction every single time, and you'll abandon it without ever quite deciding to. And third, stacking too many at once. This one's seductive. One stack works, you feel the little glow of it, and immediately you want 5 more. Meditate, then stretch, then journal, then plan the day, then drink the water. And now you haven't built a habit. You've built a fragile morning program where one broken link snaps the entire chain. Build one stack. Let it set like concrete. Then, and only then, add the next. Let me make this concrete with a few you can simply steal. Notice how small each one is. That's the design, not laziness. After I pour my morning coffee, I will fill a glass of water and drink it. After I brush my teeth at night, I will lay out my clothes for tomorrow. After I sit down at my desk, I will write the single most important task of the day on a sticky note. After I take off my work shoes, I will change straight into my gym kit. After I get into bed, I will read 1 page of a book. After I pour my second coffee, I will text one person I care about. After I put the kettle on, I will take 5 slow, deep breaths while it boils. Each one borrows the reliability of something you already do and lends it to something you'd love to. So don't drift out of this episode without building one. It takes 30 seconds. Pick your single sharpest, most reliable automatic habit. Pick one small thing you genuinely like to start and shrink it until it feels almost laughably easy. Drop both halves into the sentence. Say it aloud. Write it on a card and prop it exactly where the anchor happens. On the kettle, the bathroom mirror, the edge of the desk. Then, do nothing clever. Just let the old habit pull the new one along day after day until the new one stops needing the card at all. Because that's the whole thing. No magic, no white-knuckle discipline, just a small behavior leaning on a sturdy one until it learns to stand on its own. Real change was never magic. It's mechanism. And once you see the mechanism, the tools stop sounding like platitudes. If this landed, join the Rebuild, my newsletter, where I take one mechanism like this apart every week. No woo, no hype. This episode was narrated by an AI clone of my own voice trained on this show.